Yeah, so welcome everyone to our community call again. It's nice to see everyone. We didn't know how many people would show. It's been the holidays, but it's lovely to see you. And yeah, just hope you've had a nice bit of time off from studies or not. Maybe you've continued all the way through. I've been a bit kind of up and down, but getting back into it now. So yeah, I really needed this call personally just to kind of reconnect and get back on it. So yeah, I think most of you are in the Facebook group, but if you're not, there's been some really nice conversations about how people are doing. And yeah, people are at different stages, and it's just really reassuring whenever something's popped in there. I find it personally really reassuring and inspiring to see how everyone else is doing. So yeah, if you're not in there, just let me know and I'll send me an email and I can join you up. Somebody, I think it was Kelly, did actually bring up about what are we going to do at the end of the course, because we're obviously heading into the second half now. And myself and Francis had a little chat yesterday, and we were sort of saying that it would be really nice just as students together, regardless of if Professor Bryant does decide to do something else. He might do something on the Bhagavad Gita, but we were saying it would be really nice to go through the book again, maybe together as a group. So that is a little seed that we're just putting out there. Maybe together we could just go through it again and do some reviews like what we're doing now. So just have a think about that. Something to grow in our minds as we go forward. Yeah, so the next class, I just want to make sure that this is on the recording, is the 10th of January, and it's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern. So for those of us in Europe, that's going to be a late one. So I don't know if anyone else is. Maybe Sylvia, yeah. So yeah, I tend to have a little sleep and get up, and it may change again because of his travel plans. So just bear that in mind.
There was a bunch of Germans in Hamburg.
What's that?
There was a bunch of Germans in Hamburg. It was Carla or something like this is in Hamburg.
Oh, okay.
So she would even be an hour more off than you.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's always going to change, I guess. So yeah, we'll deal with it class by class. But certainly for the 10th of January, it's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern. So cool. Okay, so yeah, welcome back, everyone. It's lovely to see you. And I'm going to pass over to Francis and we can do our opening chant. And then I think she's going to do a review on passive sentences, which was when we did the when we sent out the questions to see what people were most wanting to cover. That was the second thing that came up. So we're just following that. We're following the feedback, if you're wondering about our method. Okay, I'm going to pass over.
Okay, so we'll do our opening chant, and we'll get into some review. Let me just make sure my original sound is on. Is it? Yes. Okay. So you can hear the harmonium. Okay. So, we have, okay, time to go over the passive sentence construction. Oop, this is the wrong document. Hold on, because I have several of these Sanskrit Community Calls. This was from December 4th. I need December 29. Here we are. Okay. So here we are, chant, and then, so passive sentence construction. We made this little handy table. So active voice is what most of the sentences were up until this chapter. This was lesson 9, I believe, yeah. And so that would be kartari prayoga, or active voice, because the kartra is the one that agrees with the verb in active voice. And then passive voice is known as karmani prayoga. And so that's when the verb agrees with the karman, which is the object, the direct object. So here, verbal usage, prayoga, with respect to kartra, and here, verbal usage with respect to the karman, the direct object. Here, the verb agrees with the subject, number, and person, and here the verb agrees with the direct object, number, and person. The subject here, the kartra, is in pratama vibhakti, or nominative case, and here the karman, the direct object, is in pratama vibhakti, nominative case. In active voice, the direct object is what is independent of the verb. And here in the karmani prayoga, in the passive voice, the subject is independent of the verb, meaning that they don't agree with the verb in number and person. And then finally, here in the active voice, the direct object is in dvitiya vibhakti, in second case or accusative case. And in karmani prayoga, in the passive voice, the subject is in tritiya vibhakti, or instrumental case. Is this good so far? Any questions? No. So basically, this is point number 916. That's exactly as it shows up in our text. It's all of the points up here. I just kind of, I put them out in a chart so you could see the comparison directly. But in the kartari prayoga, the kartra in pratama, the kriyapada, this is a verb, what we call a verb in Sanskrit, agrees with the kartra. The karmatva, objectness of the karman, is anabhita, unspecified by the kriyapada. So that, again, is saying how it doesn't agree with the verb, right? The direct object. Therefore, the karman is in dvitiya vibhakti. And then in the karmani prayoga, it's the karman that's in pratama. The kriyapada agrees with the karman. And the kartritva, subjectness, I guess this should be one word, of the kartra is what is anabhihita, unspecified by the kriyapada, again saying it doesn't agree with the verb. And so the kartra is in tritiya vibhakti. It's just the same thing that I listed here in points, but in sentences, and this is how it shows up in the text. But then we also have something special in Sanskrit known as the bhave prayoga, which is an abstract construction and is also passive, but it doesn't have a direct object. And so here the kartari prayoga and the karmani prayoga, that's the two we just saw, active and passive, constructions apply to sakarmaka dhatus. So these are verbs, transitive verbs, or verbs that have direct objects, that take direct objects. But the bhave prayoga, the abstract construction, is also a passive construction, but it is akarmaka dhatu, which means it's intransitive and doesn't have a direct object. So sa meaning with, sa karmaka, so with a karman basically, and then akarmaka without a karman, without a direct object. This is good? So I made a similar chart here for the karmani prayoga and the bhavi prayoga, which are both passive, but one of them has a direct object and the other one doesn't. So again, similar, same points as above actually here. For the passive voice, the verbal usage is with respect to the direct object, but here in the abstract construction, the verbal usage is with respect to the abstract tat, in the absence of a karman. There is no direct object, or just the verb is going to go with an abstract tat. The verb agrees with a direct object, again, in number and person. Here, the verb agrees and is always in the Pratama Purusha Ekavachana, because this is just an abstract third person singular tat. Still good? We're all following so far? I'm not going too fast? Okay. Here the direct object, again, in Pratama Vibhakti, and here there is no direct object, but it's in Pratama Purusha, it will be, in this conjugation of the verb. So here the subject is independent of the verb, same thing. The subject works the same way in both of these abstract constructions. Subject is independent, doesn't agree with the verb. Subject is in third case, instrumental tritiya vibhakti. Yeah. So we have some examples here. I guess I didn't do examples up there, but we do an example later in my document. So some examples here. This is in active voice, kartari prayoga. The sentence, and these are in the text as well. Munayo vane vasanti. The sages live in the forest. So this would have been munaya, but because of asandi, it became o. And then vane is locative for vanam, and then vasanti is third case plural, because it's agreeing with the subject, which is the sages. Yeah. But then if we put it in bhave prayoga, it becomes munibhir vana ushyate. This is in third case, plural, munibhi. And it becomes ir, the visarga becomes a ra because of this rule here, 329b. It's a non-a vowel before the visarga and meets a voiced initial. So it becomes a ra. And then here, ushyate, well, this is the verbal root to which you add ya. And then it has the atmanepada ending, which is how we do passive construction. I think I talk about that further down. So this is the passive form of to live, and literally would be translated to, it is lived in the forest by the sages. If we were to translate it, he says this in the text, to English, we would just leave it as the sages live in the forest, because this is an awkward way of saying things, but this is literally what this sentence is saying. But actually, as a translation that makes sense in English, it would be still, the sages lived in the forest.
So if I can interrupt you, why do I have
Yes.
vana with an a in the end? I think vane is the locative, this I get, but why do I have
Oh,
vana?
the up. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yes, I skipped over this entirely. So this is another sandhi rule. This would have still been vane. And when we do sandhi rules for complex vowels, right, or a diphthong, a is a diphthong, it breaks up into a and e. The e part would have become ya, so it would have been vanaya, but then it gets dropped in this case. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm quoting that.
Wait, no. The u is a complex vowel, yes? Am I getting this wrong?
The u is a simple vowel. This would have been vane. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, and the a is a complex. Okay,
but then it became a plus e. And this would have been a ya. but then
Okay.
the ya gets dropped and it becomes
Yes.
vana
Okay. Thank
ushyate.
you.
Yeah, no problem. But thank
It's
you for pointing that
basically an
out.
A. Yeah, I get it. I just forgot.
Yeah. Oh
We
no,
did
it's
all this.
okay.
I remember.
Yeah, it's it's a rule that's not easy to remember. Yeah, the ya gets dropped.
So often I
If you
forget it
look at,
every time.
I know, I do too, same. And Professor Bryant does too often when he does his translation.
Yeah,
So
it's so
it's a tricky
obvious.
one.
Thank you.
It's a
Thank you.
tricky one. But it is 3.18 if you want to review it. The
I
ya
will.
gets dropped. So it is lived in the forest by the sages. And then this example here, we have Rajana Sukham Jivanti. This remains or changes depending on how you see it. The rule is 331. It's a visarga here because it's what follows is an unvoiced. All the sibilants are unvoiced. And then the ma becomes anusvara. This is also the Sunday rule here, 349, when it meets any consonant. So this is kings live happily. And then here, it is lived happily by the kings. Rajabhi, so this is again in third case, plural. This visarga it's the same rule because it meets the sa. It's visarga here, and that's both of them are the same rules. And then here the maha becomes the anusvara, but the verb is jivyate. Jivyate, which is the passive past construction for jiv, to live. And then I have some examples of those further down. So to transform a kartari to a karmani prayoga sentence, these are the steps. And again, this is in the book, 9.19. First, we put the kartra in tritiya, in that instrumental case, third case. Put the karman in pratama, in first case. This is the direct object in first case. And then we use the karmani form of the verb in agreement with the karman. And the example that he gives is Ramo Rakshasan Hanti. This used to be Ramah, but became Ramo because of the 335 rule. Rakshasan is plural second case for Rakshasa, demons. And then Hanti because it's agreeing with Rama. Rama kills the demons. But then if we want to turn this active voice sentence into passive, well, first we would make the subject, which is Rama, in third case, put it in third case, which we get Rameina. And this becomes, I didn't put this here, but the na becomes a cerebral na because of internal sandhi. I feel like it's 358 maybe. If I remember correctly, 359. 359. And then here, Rakshasan becomes Rakshasa because it goes from second case plural to first case plural, pratama. And then to turn Hanti into the passive construction, passive past construction, it becomes Han-ya. Han is the dhatu of the verb. Ya, you add before the ending. And this is ante, this is the plural, third case plural, because now it's agreeing with the direct object, which is the Rakshasas. So we have Ramena, Rakshasa. Here, I put rule 339. I'll explain it in a second, but in the text, it shows it as the visarga being dropped here. And then hanyante. So it's still, if we were translating it, would be translated as Rama kills the demons, but literally would get translated as the demons are killed by Rama. Yeah, he suggests to put everything in active voice. This doesn't sound strange, the demons are killed by Rama, but for bhave prayoga ones where it's abstract, they do tend to sound really odd, like up here. It is lived happily by the kings, right? Okay, I'll what time do I have? Okay, I'm just checking. Perfect. So the reason here I believe that the Visarga gets dropped is ha in all the other courses I've ever taken. Ha is voiced. So before a voiced, the long and the Visarga gets dropped. Except in Goldman, for whatever reason, he has ha as unvoiced, which I don't know why. Everywhere I've seen it has been voiced. And in this case, if the ha is considered voiced, this rule would apply. I don't see what other rule would apply if the ha was taken to be unvoiced. So I believe it's 339 that applies here. But if anyone else has any feelings about that or any other interpretations or understanding of that, you can let me know. But that's what I believe. And as I said in other texts and other courses I've taken, ha is voiced. And in that case, this rule would apply. And that would make the disappearing of this visarga make sense. Okay. Yes, Talissa.
Yeah, believe it or not, I have something to say about that, I think. Well, anyway, I have this little card here that I made, which is that very first chart of the Sparshas. Okay. And it just happens to always be on the top of my pile. And I'm looking at it and what you're saying, because the column that the ha is in is the Ushman column, and that column is labeled unvoiced, a minus V, okay? But right beneath that, I mean, the way I'm reading it is on the Kantiya line, the Ka Varga line. Everything is in brackets, but there's a ha and then a plus V, and then the transliteration of ha. And I interpreted that whole thing to mean that the Ushmans are unvoiced, the sibilants are unvoiced, but the ha is voiced.
Oh, that's great. Oh, wonderful.
I mean,
yeah, the fact that it's in brackets. That is not very clear, but that totally makes sense. That very much makes sense.
With your explanation and just happening to look at this, it looks that way to me. I mean, so we could just say it is that way and that solves our problem.
Yeah, I would have, I mean, personally, if I had made this chart, I would have just put the ha with the antastas. I don't know why they need to be grouped with Ushman. Just for the voicing. I mean, I guess it's, because technically, as I've learned it, the ha isn't an Ushman either. It's just like an aspirate. It just kind of lives in its own category. But this makes sense that it be bracketed, and that possibly meaning that it's of this column, a voiced, potentially.
It's just a place to put it, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Okay, wonderful. So
Also, I was just going to mention, I have a different Sanskrit alphabet chart that separates the voiced and the unvoiced by color. And it has the reds as unvoiced and the blue as voiced. But yeah, in that Ushman section, the ha is blue. And all the S sounds are in red, which are
perfect.
Separate the voice and voice.
All right, so we're all in agreement. Very exciting. So the ha is voiced, and that's what this rule pertains to. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. So then to do the reverse, to make a karmani prayog to a kartari prayoga sentence, you just reverse everything. So maya tvam raja kriyase, this is agreeing with tvam. You are made king by me. Oh no, I guess no, this would go with by me, would go with the maya. Does that make sense? No. You are made king by me is the active translation of this passive sentence. No, is that wrong? Sorry, let me think for 2 seconds. This is by me. This is you. This is king. You are made. No, yeah, but this is agreeing with the tvam. Yeah, okay, this is right. Sorry. Is everyone okay? This is by me. This is in third case. This is tvam. This is just straight you, so it's in first case. Raja is king, also in first case. And then kriya se, this is conjugated in second person singular. It's agreeing with the direct object because it's in passive construction. So then if we reverse everything, maya, which is in third case, becomes aham, goes into first case, pratama. Tvam, which was in first case, goes into tvam, which would be second case. And then raja becomes rajanam. And this is, I guess this is also second case. Yeah, because it's agreeing with this. It's the direct object. And then here, kriya se, which used to be in second case, is now in first case and just present, karomi. So I make you king. Aham is first case, tvam rajanam. This is the direct object. And then karomi is the verb, which is conjugated now with the first person singular. Yeah? Good. Hopefully I didn't confuse people by confusing myself earlier. Yeah, Matthew, did you have something to say?
No, sorry, I forgot to mute myself.
Okay. All right. So that's the backwards way from passive back to active. So here, this is the formation of the karmani prayoga, the formation of how you would make these verbs into passive. And this again is from the text 9.25. And formed by, it's so funny, he says formed by 2 simple steps. And then he did A and B. So I changed them to 1 and 2 to go with his numerical 2. So step 1 is to do, to make the dhatu, add to the dhatu a ya, with absolutely no reference to guna, just straight what the dhatu is, add a ya, and then to, the ya is the karmani marker of the karmani stem, perfect. And then to this stem, we add the appropriate atmane pada ending. So here were just 2 examples. He included tyaj, to abandon, and then tyajati, this is in kartari, this is just your straight active present lat first case. And then here we have tyajyate, so tyaj, ooh, I did this wrong, I did tj, look at this, tyaj, so we have tyaj plus ya, the karmani marker, and then the ate is the atmane pada ending, but this is still present, but just an atmane pada ending. Oh no, is this past? Ate. No, it's present, but it's passive. The thing is with the present tense in Sanskrit, it can also be kind of near past and near future as well. So you can translate it as is abandoned. Then we have nya as another example, to know. And in the present active tense, it would be janati. But then to put it in passive, it becomes nya, just the dhatu, plus the ya as the passive marker, and then the te ending. And then chid becomes chinnati, present, active, and then here just becomes chid, plus the ya, plus the te, chid yate. See, here is abandoned, but then is known, is cut. This kind of feels more present, and this feels past. Anyhow, these are all passive constructions. The ending is the lat ending, but it can also be used with long endings as well, with the imperfect endings. So is this okay? for everybody as well. There's some like exceptions also, and I didn't want to go into all the exceptions and take the time to do exceptions because I wanted to be able to look at a sentence, which I think we have time to look at very quickly. This was a sentence that we did together on a previous call, and it is from our, I think it is our lesson 9 exercises, one of the sentences that, yeah, it's sentence 8, lesson 9 on the section B. We did together, and it was Munes tejasa suryo pyantardhiyate, which we ended up translating to, by the splendor of the sage, even the sun is hidden. So this is the passive sentence construction, right? So if we were to follow the steps above that we looked at and put these into their, to change this into an active sentence. Yeah, does anyone want to give it a shot? Tejasa, which is currently in third case. Tritiya, how would we put this? What would it be in first case, in pratama? I know somebody knows. We don't know? Tejas. Tejas would be like rajas, right? Or do we have tejas in our text? Let me go
It's
and
in the
check.
glossary, I think.
In the glossary. Great. Well, let's look really quick.
Because eyes would I know it.
Tejas. Okay, it's teja. It's neuter. It's in chapter 9. Oh, okay. So maybe it's at the beginning of our lesson. Well, I think it would be the same as tapas. Right? Does that make sense for everybody? So we make it like tapas. In third case, it's tejasa. In first case, it's teja, like up here, right? So this would be our first case. Luckily, I have it here, so we'll do this. Copy paste, the magic of technology. Oop, except here we go. Teja. Formatting. We'll deal with that later. Teja. So this is what it is in first case. And then we have Surya. Surya, which was in first case, right? It's a subject. So when we're putting it into, it wasn't the subject. This is the direct object. So when we're changing from passive to active, what was in first case is now going into a direct object would be in?
Third case.
It would be in second case.
Oh.
Yeah,
Suryam.
because it's okay. Sorry?
Suryam.
Suryam. It's okay. This is why we're doing this exercise, right? Suryam. So, and then we'll see when we put it together in the sentence how it sounds when we get there. So Suryam, in my Devanagari. Here. Ooh. And then antardhiyate, this is the passive construction. The antad is a upasarga, a prefix. Dhi is the dhatu, the root, or dha technically actually, because then this is one of those exceptions, becomes t, the long becomes a long e. And then the ya got added, and then the atmanepada ending got added. But luckily I put this here as it shows in the glossary, and its present tense conjugation would be antad dadhati. So that's what goes here. Antad dadhati is the third person singular conjugation, right? So if we were to make this sentence, we'll just put it in transliteration for now. We would get Tejasa. Well, if we did it in the same order, so the sage, oh, we didn't do the, sorry. Oh yeah, the sage is in, we decided was of the sage is in sixth case. So that remains the same. So the other things that are in other cases in the sentence remain. It's the subject and the object that are going to be switching. So we'll keep this mune. We'll just do it in order and then we'll see how it sounds. This is teja. This would be suryam and antar dadhati. Let me check. So this is still of the sage. This is splendor. This is the sun. And this is to hide. The sun, so the splendor of the sage is hidden by the sun, but this is, oh, even, and we didn't put even in there. Even. I'm going to check, sorry, I'm going to check what when I did this exercise, what I ended up. I thought we would do it together and it would be like, we figure it out and we'll see how it goes. But here, just so I can see really quick what I ended up coming up with in my own exercise. Munes, okay. So this is a sandhi rule here. When it comes up against the ta of teja, it becomes a sa or remains a sa, depending on how you look at it. Teja suryam api antartadati. So I put the api before antartadati. So it becomes the splendor, teja, of the sage, still munes, hides even the sun. So it's the splendor that is agreeing with the verb. And even the sun, so the sun is the direct object. So if we go back to our my other exercise sheet for today, I put the, oops, sorry, wrong one. This is community call. Oh, maybe it was the right one for you guys, but it's not the right one for me. Here we go. So I put the api here, and this is still munes teja because of this sandhi rule. And then the sandhi rule here between the teja and suryam, that is still a visarga at the end, is 331. Here there's nothing. Oh, and then here it would be a ya, right? It would be the same. The e becomes a ya for api. Is that good? Did I put that here in mine? I did. Okay. And then it becomes the splendor of the sage hides even the sun. Are we good? I went over.
Will you share that document?
Of course, yeah. I'll make it when I have my little formatting issues at the end. I'll make it pretty and I'll send the document for sure.
Maybe I'll just send it out. I don't know if I'll, because I have so many documents to send out to the whole group. If people
I
want,
know. Oh, I forgot. And the Sandhi document, I am aware. I know Federico was asking what was going on in the document. So I'll do a quick once over of it. But I think what I'll end up doing is sending the document that has just the Sandhis the charts that I went over during the call. And then Federico added his kind of flow instructions in another document. So I'll just send them as separate instead of trying to like merge them and figure that out, because that was adding an extra element of figuring things out on my end, but you'll get all those. Well, I'm not going to say before the end of the day and put that pressure on Alice, but we'll get those together after the call. All right. Well, hopefully that was helpful for everybody. And maybe when you get the document and you review it on your own, it will also clarify things. Yeah.
Anyone have any questions about it, or any general questions before we head into breakout? Or
I just want to say those charts are great. Thank you for doing those. Those are awesome. They should do a new edition of Goldman with those.
It's what I need to do for my own studies. So thank you. Yeah, I find it very helpful.
Yeah, that
for
section
me to
was
do.
super confusing. You know, it's all this information just jumbled together in that one paragraph, and you split it all apart really nicely.
Into points, into just straight points. This is like this, and here it's like this. Yeah, that's how it helped me look at it. Yeah.
Saying in our class, you know, the last class about making charts, and I did think to myself, if different people want to, when he's going to send out the email about what he's exactly looking for, and if people step up and want to create charts, then maybe at the end I can bring all of those together and, you know, send out one PDF with all of the charts that Francis and others have done, because they'll just be helpful to us in our ongoing studies, I'm sure. So
Alice, I have a question. This is Elizabeth. Professor Bryant said in the last call he did about he has copies of the Bhagavad Gita and the Devanagari if we were to pony up and start doing our own translations, which on a certain level I find amusing. But do you know how we can download that or find it, or was he just doing a chapter, or how would we find that, the Bhagavad Gita and the Devanagari? Did I misunderstand that?
was he talking about the Sargent book?
Well, I don't.
This
Okay.
one has it.
The answer is I don't know.
This in here, you have the Devanagari, the translation, and then he breaks all the Sandy down at the side of the pages, so you can see here. Well, maybe you can't see, actually, that's a bit.
Okay.
But that's the copy. I think you can download, if you do a search for it.
Okay.
You can download a copy, but obviously you can buy a copy. But it's the red copy. Is that what you mean? Is that what he was referring to? Because this is the one that he always talks about.
Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes, and I think I frankly already have it downloaded. I just thought maybe he was talking about something else.
Yeah,
so,
I can't remember anything specific. If he's talking about a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, he's generally always talking about this one, unless I've missed something that you're referring to.
Chances are I'm the one that missed something, not you. So chances
at the moment, I don't know.
No, I think that's what he was recommending, that if we wanted, we can start looking at that Sargent translation and trying to figure out the grammar on our own. And the grammar's already all there, actually. So then we have something to reference to see if we're correct in our.
You can actually read through a verse, and then you could sit yourself, kind of work out the Santi and stuff, and then you can actually look at it on the right hand side and it will show you it broken down. So, and that's actually what I've decided to do for my since Francis has taught me to do the readings actually on the computer, which I am finding really useful, even though I was kind of resistant to it at the beginning. They're so long, the readings, that I'm finding it really helpful to do it on the computer. But what I'm doing for handwriting is writing out, just choosing a verse from this book and writing it out, and also trying to see if I can work out the Sandy in that, because it is all in there. So very useful copy to have, I would say. Cool. Okay. So I think we're going to breakout then, unless anyone else has any other general questions. And we just suggest, I mean, you can talk about anything you like, of course, but just one suggestion is, how are you feeling going into the new year and the second half of this course? We can just share, you know, where we're all at and how we're feeling about it. Cool.
So we're 11. Let me just split us up in